Will the Keystone XL cancellation affect Calgary real estate prices? Did you know that Calgary was ranked in the top 100 best cities? How is the housing affordability in Alberta compared to the rest of the provinces in Canada? And how did the Calgary real estate market do in the first month of 2021? My name is Felix Chan, Calgary Realtor with the LiveInnerCity Real Estate Team, where we bring you the most current, up-to-date information of all things Calgary real estate and of course, mortgage tips. Now, if you do find our content valuable, then you want to make sure that you hit the subscribe button and click on the notification bell on all, because YouTube gatekeeps information from us. So unless you tell them that you want similar content to what you're watching, then they're not going to show it to you. Plus, this is going to help other people find our videos to help them with their home buying or selling experience. We have some exciting videos coming up for you guys in the next few months. We're gonna be giving you a tour of infills, all types, from row housing to duplex to single family homes. And we did something similar to with this net zero home. If you didn't catch that video and you want to know what an infill is, make sure you check out this link up here or down in the description below. So let's get started. Now, since our last Calgary real estate market update by my partner Jazz, and if you missed it, you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description. The Keystone XL Pipeline has been canceled. Now, it's not this project is not new to any political challenges, especially over the last 3 administrations. And so it's not really that surprising. Now, the Keystone is important to know that it is an extension of an existing pipeline. So it's not as though that we're losing any oil going through the existing pipelines. Now, would it be great? Absolutely. It would definitely bring up the local economy here and contribute to the 10% of Canada's GDP from oil and gas. Now, I'm not here to politicalize this, but how will this affect Calgary real estate? And the truth is, I don't think it will. One of the biggest factors that drives real estate prices is migration. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up a map of the Keystone Pipeline, okay? And the pipeline, you can see here, it starts in Hardisty, Alberta, which is about a 3.5-hour drive away from Calgary. Now, I'm also gonna pull up this article here from the Calgary Economic Development. And this is just when they had announced that Keystone was gonna go through on March 31st. And you can see here that Keystone will create about 1,400 direct and 5,400 indirect jobs here in Alberta. Okay, so I guess the question is now, looking at this map, you know, how many of those jobs would actually come from the local area, meaning our province? And if people were to move here for work, would they move back as soon as the project is built? And how many people would actually stay after the project is complete? Would they move 3.5 hours to Calgary and live here long term? And between, you know, Calgary and Edmonton, we would see a number that I think would be so small that it wouldn't really affect the Calgary real estate market. Of course, I do acknowledge that there are billions of dollars of investments, but for the purpose of Calgary real estate and migration, I just wanted to show you guys these numbers. Okay, now the exciting part. Did you know that Calgary was ranked number 47 out of the top 100 cities in the world to live? Now, I'm gonna pull up this report here, and it's a report by Residence Consultancy for 2021, and they've conducted extensive research on the rise of cities, the key trends propelling growth, and factors that really shape our perception of urban centers as desirable places to live, visit, and invest. Oh, and by the way, if you do want this report, I'm gonna leave it a link in the description below for you to download. Now, this report has 6 key metrics that they used to rank the world's best cities, okay? So here they are here. Just gonna make it bigger for you guys. So those 6 key metrics are place. Okay, so things like, you know, weather, well, unless you like being an Eskimo for 8 months of the year, you know, it's a great place to live. But also includes, you know, sites and landmarks, parks and outdoors, and of course, safety. The second metric is product. Airport connectivity, well, we're probably the only city in the world that doesn't have a train connected to the international airport. I mean, get on it, Calgary, but don't raise my taxes. All right. And other things like, you know, attractions, university ranking. The next thing that they have is the people. So foreign-born residents, educational attainment, which is the percentage of the population with a bachelor degree or higher. We have prosperity, and this is an interesting metric, which is the Global 500, the number of Global Fortune 500 corporate headquarters, GDP per capita, which we have one of the highest in the world. I'll dive into that a little bit in a bit here. Income equality and the unemployment rate. Next is programming. So this covers things like culture, nightlife, dining and shopping, and promotion. Facebook check-ins, which is unique. Google search, TripAdvisor reviews, Instagram hashtags, and Google Trends. So pretty cool. So I'm gonna go all the way to page 47 where we are. Okay, here we go. Okay, so of the top 100 cities, we are ranked number 47. And it says here, yeah, Canada's energy capital, that's us, is building its future despite a struggling oil industry. Now, they do acknowledge the struggles that we've been through, and we still made it on. Okay, so in short, we are ranked number 23rd globally for GDP per capita, which by far is the highest in Canada. So there is good opportunity here given the GDP output that we have. Despite a struggling oil and gas industry, and also goes on to say that we did have the highest unemployment rate in Canada, at over 15.5% over the summer of 2020. I mean, a lot of provinces experienced high unemployment because it was a pandemic. We had to go through a pandemic. And it goes on to say, you know, number 9, sorry, I'm gonna make this bigger so you guys can see. Number 9, we ranked globally in our people's category. We ranked number 11 for educational attainment, and number 24 for foreign-born residents. So we are definitely a very multicultural society here. And it goes on to say that, you know, because of we built a central library, which is really cool. By the way, you should check it out. It is built in the cultural hub of East Village that reinforces the city's long-lauded quality of life despite current struggles. So, as a Calgarian born and raised here, I'm pretty proud that we made it in the top 100 and even below, well, the first top 50. The top 50. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is housing affordability. And I'm gonna pull up this article here by The Owl, which is from ATB, Alberta Treasury Branches. And this is from February 9th, so very, very fresh. And it does acknowledge that in here, you know, the residential property index data from Statistics Canada showed that the average price of residential properties in 6 major metro areas increased by 8.5% between the fourth quarter of 2019 and the same quarter in 2020. However, the situation in Calgary is very different, with index down by 0.9% over the same period, okay? And the only decline in the 6 major markets. Now, there are 3 factors that set the province's overall housing market differently than markets like Toronto and Vancouver. And it goes on to say that first, Alberta went into the pandemic already dealing with a sluggish economy. I mean, since the oil crash in 2014, Alberta's economy hasn't really been on a steamroll at all. And so Alberta's economy grew by only 0.1% in 2019 compared to 1.9% nationally. Second, the oil crash in 2020 was an additional drag on the province's economy and its housing market. Even though resale activity in the fourth quarter and prices inched up, they were still down by 1.2% compared to 2019. And third, the downward trend in prices dates back to the provincial recession of 2015-2016. In 2014, going into 2015, there was an oil crash which affected Alberta's economy, and we just haven't seemed to get back up on our feet in terms of real estate prices since then. Now, it goes on to say that while the comps index increased by a whopping 19.7% between the first quarter of 2017 and the fourth quarter of 2020, it actually fell by 4.2% in Alberta. And prices in all the categories, in new, resale, single-family homes, condo, apartment, even though they were up in other metro areas, they were down in each category in Calgary. So obviously this is not great news for those who already own real estate here, but it is great news for those who are wanting to migrate here, and that's what we need. We need more people moving to Calgary so that demand picks up, sales picks up, and we can start projecting on an upward trend. Okay, now what happened in January for Calgary real estate sales? Okay, I'm gonna pull up this graph here, and honestly, this has been the best January since 2014. I'm gonna pull up this other graph here for January weekly sales. And for the month of January, we had 1,208 sales, which is an average of about 39 per day. Our sales were 40% more than January of 2020 and even more than February of 2020. Here are the sales activities for each four of the different segments. So for detached homes, sales were up 42%. Semi-detached were on a tear at 60% more sales, which is the highest growth than any other category. Row housing was up by 33%, and apartments were up by 27%. This is a huge difference for apartments, and it's finally turning around for the better. Real estate inventory in Calgary. Now, we did end the month off with 20% less inventory, which is almost about 1,130 less homes on the market. New listings were up 10% more than last year, but the increase in sales demand was able to absorb a lot of that. If you take a look at this total inventory graph, which goes back the last 15 years, it shows you that we are right on the average for the total listings available. Although it might feel like a tight market, this just shows us that we're currently in a balanced market. I want to talk about months of supply. Now, months of supply is a metric that determines what kind of market we're in, buyers, sellers, or a balanced market. Now, the definition of months of supply or months of inventory, same thing, means that based on last month's sales, how many months would it take for the market to absorb all that inventory? In Calgary, anywhere between 2.5 and 4 months of inventory means that we're in a balanced market. 2.5 to 4 months. If it's anything less than 2.5 months, it means that we're in a seller's market because properties are selling quick. Anything over 4 months, obviously it's a buyer's market. Right now, based on months of supply in 2021, we're sitting at 3 months. So we are in a balanced market. So for total inventory, this is how we ended off the month. For detached, we had 33% less inventory. Semi-detached was 41% less. Row houses, 9% less. And apartments, 2% less. For Calgary real estate prices, it kind of ranged anywhere from, detached was plus 3% all the way to minus 0.5% for condos. Advice for buyers. Now, sales are up and inventory is down. So you don't have a ton of choices out there. And if you did find something you like, I would move on it pretty quick. My team and I, as well as some of my colleagues in the industry, we are going through multiple offers with some of our buyers. So, I mean, take your time, but don't take an unreasonable amount of time. Otherwise, the property that you've seen and that you like is gonna get snatched up. If you don't know what multiple offers are, Jazz, my business partner, did do a video on what multiple offers are and how to handle them. So make sure you check it out, because chances are, if you see something you like and it's at a good price and you know it when it is, then chances are you may go into a competing offer situation. So check it out in this link up here or down below. Advice for sellers. Now, you must price your home at market expectations, and if you do, you're gonna get a flurry of activity. On our listings, we are experiencing parabolic showings, and our properties are selling within weeks on the market. But that doesn't mean that you can be greedy. Price it right, and you'll sell in a short period of time. This is what I've taken in from 2020 and the Calgary real estate market. We've had to go through the pandemic, we've had the crash of oil and gas, we've had a lot of setbacks, and we've had to go through adversity and struggles, and we've had so many things thrown at us. But you know what? We as Calgarians have no F's to give. We are resilient, we are strong, and together we're gonna get through this. And the numbers of the real estate sales are showing that. And you know, does this mean that we've come to a bottom? I mean, I hope so, but only time will really tell. So don't be afraid to jump into the market. Take advantage of super low rates. You can borrow under 2%, which is almost for free. So take advantage of this market. And there's a lot of people eyeing Calgary and Alberta as a whole. We get a ton of calls from people from Toronto and Vancouver and even other parts of the world looking to buy in Calgary because of the stability that we have here in terms of our government, and the housing affordability here is unmatched by anywhere else, especially when you're looking at the major centers here in Canada. So if you guys have any other questions about anything Calgary real estate related, feel free to let us know in the comments below, and we'll be happy to answer all your questions. My name is Felix Chan with the LiveInnerCity Real Estate Team here in Calgary, Alberta, helping you keep your real estate simple, and we'll see you guys in the next video.